We're going to Matthew chapter 24 and talk about the abomination that maketh desolate. Many people don't understand what is the abomination that maketh desolate. See, they're going to set up an image, like Nebuchadnezzar did. When they're going to set up that image, that's going to make the abomination that make it desolate. Jerusalem going to go into captivity. All right. In Matthew 24 and verse 15. But I'm going to go ahead and start in verse 14. So I'm trying to get the people to understand at the time what's going to be happening. It says, "And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached into all the world for a witness unto all nations. And then shall the end come." See, that's when the two witnesses going to be here. That's at the end time. See, Matthew chapter 24 is dealing with the end time. It's not dealing way back then, what happened way back then. It's dealing at the end time. It's like what Daniel talked about. All that's dealing with the end time. Because in verse 3, a disciple asked Jesus Christ, his disciples, and as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciple came unto him privately, saying, "Tell us, when shall these things be?" See, he asking a question. Jesus Christ a question. When shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? See? So Jesus Christ answered his disciples. He went through all the detail, all what's going to be happening at the end time. He's not talking about way back then, what happened way back then. They're talking about the end times. When Christ was speaking, Christ was telling the disciple about the end time. It'll be the end of the world. That's why I say it's going to be wars and rumors of war. That's what we are seeing now. Just the beginning of sorrow with the war in Ukraine and the war with the Palestine, with Iran. See, it's just what we are seeing now. With the Palestinian, with Israel, and with Iran. With the United States fighting Iran now. The he-goat with the ram. A rock horn is broken, but you got to break Iran horn. The United States got to break Iran horn. That's just the beginning of sorrow. There'll be wars and rumors of wars. All right, it's telling Jesus Christ answered in verse 4, and Jesus answered and said unto them, "Take heed." See, he tell you to take heed that no man deceive you. See, it's the first thing he said. Take heed that no man deceive you. Like pay close attention. So you won't get deceived. You got to be checking these preachers, prophets, anybody. It's like the Berean did with Paul. Because if you deceive, you will be lost. That's what he's trying to tell you. That's why a lot of people believe that they are saved and all. So many will seek to enter, the Lord said won't be able to. And no liars will enter into God's kingdom. You got to believe the truth. He gotten us with the truth. All right, in verse 15, it says, "When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation," see, abomination of desolation, spoken of by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place. Whoso read it, let him understand. See, you got to understand what is the abomination that make it desolate. It's like Nebuchadnezzar did. He set up an image and wanted everybody to bow down to that image. They should be killed. Same thing you see in Revelation chapter 13. The second beast did that. The false prophet. From Revelation 13 and 11. You read on down. He told the people that they should make an image to the beast. And the people made an image, and he wanted everybody to bow down and worship that image, or they should be killed. And I've read about it to y'all many times. And the people like in Judea, like in verse 16, it says, Matthew chapter 24 and verse 16 said, then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains, and let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house. See, you can't come and take nothing out of your house when you see when they set up that image. When they kill the two witnesses, then they're going to set up that image. See, that beast government couldn't do the two witnesses nothing until they finish their testimony. Anybody will hurt them, fire will proceed out of their mouth, and they're going to be killed. You know. But you can read about it like I say, in Revelation chapter 11. See, a lot of people, preachers don't believe that the two witnesses going to come. They just believe that it could be the people in the last days could be just preaching the law and the prophet. But it's going to be the two witnesses, just like the Bible says. Two witnesses will come. Like in verse 11 and verse 5, it said, it's talking about the two witnesses. In verse 5, chapter 11, verse 5 of Revelation, it said, if any man will hurt them, fire proceeded out of their mouth, and devoured their enemies. If any man will hurt them, he must in this manner be killed. See? They couldn't do the beast system. People were tormented by the two witnesses. You know, just like Moses, they had power to turn water into blood. You know, put famine, drought on people, famine. Anything they wanted to do, they had the power. It's like God gave Moses the power with Pharaoh. You know, and Pharaoh was tormented of all the plague what Moses was putting on him. It was coming from God. The two witnesses, God will give the two witnesses power. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to show you. You see, verse 18 said, neither let him which is in the, it said, that's in Matthew chapter, I'm back to Matthew chapter 24 and verse 18. It said, neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. See? Because it's going to be great tribulation. You know. See, when they kill the two witnesses, they're going to set up the abomination that make it desolate. See? And Jerusalem going to go into captivity. And that start the great tribulation. So you go down, like I want back to Revelation chapter 11 and verse 7. It says, and when they shall have finished their testimony, the beast that is sent out of the bottomless pit, see, shall make war against them, and shall overcome them and kill them. See, they're going to overcome the two witnesses after they finish their testimony. Before that, they couldn't do them nothing. Anybody tried to do them something, fire proceeded them out, they will be destroyed. So a lot of people can't see. You're not understanding. And that's what's going to be happening. And that's going to start the great tribulation when they kill the two witnesses. See, they couldn't do the two witnesses. The Antichrist couldn't take over Jerusalem until they killed the two witnesses. You can go to Zechariah chapter 14. See. Yeah, Zechariah chapter 14. See, Zechariah 14 and verse 2. See, that's when they kill the two witnesses. Alright, it said, for I will gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle, and the city shall be taken, and the houses rifled, and the women ravished. See, women gonna be raped, and half of the city shall go forth into captivity. See, and the residue of the people shall not be cut off from the city. See, and then the Lord will go forth and fight against those nations, that came against Jerusalem. Because you read like in verse 12, it'll tell you. And this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet. That's a nuclear bomb. And their eyes shall consume away in their hole, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. See, like I said, it's a nuclear bomb. This is what will happen. That's after, like I said, first the Lord will gather up all nations again against Jerusalem. Then the Lord will destroy them after. But all of them won't get destroyed. But they tell you like in verse 16. So a lot of these preachers and prophets don't be understanding. In verse 16 it tells you, it said, and it shall come to pass that everyone that is left of all the nations, see, all God gathered, remember in verse 3, he gathered all nations against Jerusalem. See, including the United States, all of them. They say all nations will be against Jerusalem. And it shall come to pass that everyone that is left of all the nations which came against Jerusalem, see, shall even go up from year to year to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, and to keep the feast of tabernacle. See, a nation that will come up, don't want to come up, there'll be no rain like Egypt. All a nation that don't want to come up. Yeah. Jerusalem will go into captivity. Like I said, verse 3 of chapter 14. And Jerusalem going to be taken. Like for 3.5 years. And a lot of people don't understand it. The abomination that maketh desolate. When they set up that image, just like Nebuchadnezzar did, want everybody to bow down and worship that image. That's abomination. That's why Shamrach and Meshach didn't want to bow down to that image. See? Because that was in the 10th commandment. I should not bow down to any graven image. See, God already done give the 10th commandment. And they knew the 10th commandment. But everybody else in the world was bowing down to that image. Because they were scared to be killed. Thrown into that fiery furnace. That's all I'm showing. I could go in Revelation chapter 13. Let's see, chapter 13, like in verse, I started like in verse 14. See, but that false prophet came in verse 11, and people be saying that's in the United States, and they don't be known. That's not true. They don't be knowing what they're talking about. I'll read verse 11. I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb. He spake as a dragon. He had 2 sources of power, the government power and the political power. I mean, the religious power and the political power, like the government power. He had 2 horns like a lamb because he had the 10 horns with him. He had the religious power and the 10 kings. 10 kings would rule the world with government power. They would become one. The Bible tells you that. All right, verse 13. And he doeth great wonder, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of man, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth. See, he deceived them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles. He did miracle too, which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast. See, they made an image. See, telling the people that they should make an image to the beast. The head that got wounded, one of the head, like in the third beast, that got wounded unto death. You know, one of the head, and said which one. It could be the false prophet, the Vatican, Britain, or China, or Russia. We don't know which one, because it was 4 of them in the third beast. They didn't say which one. That's all I'm trying to say. Could be the false prophet from the Vatican. I don't know. It didn't say it. All right. It said, and to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword, and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. See, the image gonna speak. See, now they got robot. Now they speak, they put flesh on it, just like a human. See, make it speak. I learned that since way back. That's why I used to watch Lost in Space a long time ago. But the robot used to speak to a whale and all of them. You know, to Penny. You know, the whole crew. See, so I know that. Now they're making the robot have flesh on it, just like Terminator. Or look just like human. So you can make it speak and walk. Back then it would make an image, a statue. It couldn't speak. Way back like in Nebuchadnezzar time. Now they can make it speak. That's why the Bible says they shall both speak. You know, that leader will speak and that image can speak. That's all I've been trying to show y'all. You know, a lot of people don't get it. See, but the image will cause that will be the abomination that make it desolate. That's when Jerusalem got going to captivity. You know, for 3.5 years. You know, after they kill the 2 witnesses. They kill the 2 witnesses and go back in Daniel chapter. That's why Jesus Christ said, when you see the abomination that make it desolate, you know. Daniel chapter 11. I'm going Daniel chapter 11. Back in verse 31. And the arm shall stand on his part. See, the arm shall stand on his part, the army. And they shall pollute the sanctuary of strength. And they shall take away the daily sacrifice when they kill the 2 witnesses. And they shall place the abomination that make it desolate. See, the Jerusalem going to go into captivity. Because they ain't going to want God no more. The people ain't going to want God no more. They're going to be tormented by the 2 witnesses. See, they want to keep on doing what they are doing now. It could get worse. See? But the people that know that, like in verse 2, the people that know that God, they're going to be strong. See, like verse 32 says, such as do wickedly against the covenant shall he corrupt by flattery. See, the Antichrist is going to be flattery. It's like I told you that in Daniel chapter 11, verse 31. He's going to come in peaceably. But he's going to be a flatter. The Bible tells you that. I'm going to get to that. And such as do wickedly against the covenant shall he corrupt by flatteries. But the people that do know their God shall be strong and do exploits. See, they're going to be strong and do exploits. So you got to know that the man is false. You know, you got to be a flatter, like in verse 11. See, that's when the Antichrist come in. In verse chapter 11, in verse 21. And in his estate shall stand up a vile person, to whom they shall not give the honor of the kingdom, but he shall come in peaceably and obtain the kingdom by flatteries. See? You come in flattery. Just like we read in verse 32. Daniel 11:32. See, he gonna be a flatterer. He gonna flatter the people. That's what the people love. You know, like a boyfriend, girlfriend, guy come and flatter the girl. And that's what she be liking. And all the time it be lies. But they like flatter. That's people, it's human. You know. Like I was saying, you know. See, like in verse 16, like Zechariah chapter 14, like I was saying, I read it to you a while ago, and say, it shall come to pass that everyone that is left of all the nation which came against Jerusalem shall even go up from year to year to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, and to keep the feast of tabernacle. See, God ain't going to destroy everybody after the battle of Armageddon. You know, I done explained that to people many times. You know, but Jerusalem going to go into captivity. And those nations that came against Jerusalem, see, he got gathered all nations at first against Jerusalem. And Jerusalem going to go into captivity. You know, the nation that came against Jerusalem, he going to destroy them. But all of them ain't going to be destroyed. They're going to have some left. You know, like I said, God ain't going to start everybody all over like we did with Adam and Eve from dust. If he destroy everybody when he come, you see, because all the 144,000 going to be with him. A lot of these men be teaching that everybody going to be destroyed. Except, you know, the 144,000 when he come, they're going to go back with him. You know, and the earth will be burned up. All the animals, everything. There's nothing left. It'll be just ashes here. You know, but you know, if you think it, you use your little common sense, you know, just think a little bit. Everything will be burned up, and the Bible tell you that in Revelation chapter 20 that Satan gonna go out and deceive the nation again. Who he gonna deceive? Can't deceive the 144,000. They won't have nothing left. Because the 144,000 will be with Jesus Christ. The Bible says, so shall we ever be with the Lord. Tell you that in 1 Thessalonians, like in chapter 4 and verse 16, 17, 18. See, 144,000 will be with him. You ain't going to have nobody to deceive. So after the 1,000 years, he could be let loose again and go out and to deceive the nation again. I mean, the nation going to be here. That's what they tell you in Zechariah chapter 14. That one that was left. He ain't going to destroy everybody. You know, you got to put all the pieces. Everything have to make sense. During the 1,000 years, God gonna give the people here that was left his word. He come down himself and he sent prophet. Just like he come down and talked to Abraham. You know, like he was doing. You know, he sent prophets like he sent Daniel. Give the word to Daniel to give to the people. God got ways of getting the word to the people. You know, because Satan ain't going to be able to tempt nobody during the 1,000 years. You know, because he could be locked up for 1,000 years. Now people are going to, in the flesh, some of them going to be still here. You know, the world going to be multiplied during the 1,000 years. You know, then he going to go out and then he going to be let loose. Then he going to go out and deceive these people again. That's all I'm trying to show you. You're going to go out and deceive these people. Not all of them, but they always have some that won't be deceived. They always leave a remnant. Just like with the flood. He left Noah and his 3 sons. And then Noah and his wife and 3 sons. They weren't deceived. You know, just like when Lot time, Sodom and Gomorrah, he brought Lot out. And his wife and two daughters. But his wife looked back, turned into a pillar of salt. See, everybody don't get deceived. You know, that's why I tell you in Zechariah chapter 14, the nation that was left. I can show you that in other places too, like I think in Ezekiel chapter 39, after the battle of Armageddon. 39, I think, yeah. Ezekiel 39, after the battle of Armageddon. And in verse 14, it said, and they shall sever out men of continual employment passing through the land to bury with the passenger those that remain upon the face of the earth. See, that's after the battle of Armageddon. To cleanse it after the end of 7 months shall they search. See, they're going to be searching for dead bodies. So there going to be people here. All right. That's all I'll be trying to show them about. Just like what he tell you in Zechariah chapter 14. All that got to be answered. You saying there ain't going to be nothing here. The animals, everybody going to be destroyed. You're going to have animals in God's kingdom. Oh well, but I'm just trying to show people that willing to listen and search out the Bible for yourself. You don't have to believe what I'm saying, but search out. That's why I give you the scriptures. So you can search out. Don't let nobody deceive you. Search out for yourself. Everybody got to come under one mind that believe the truth. Truth coming from God. But the abomination that maketh desolate is when they go set up an image. Like Nebuchadnezzar did. Tell you that in Revelation chapter 13. And the second beast coming. The false prophet. He's the one that deceived the people and did miracles. And cause people to worship the image of the beast, as the false prophet caused. Cause people to receive the mark. Yeah. I went through that before, but I'm just letting you know I have to go over a lot of things so you can understand. But a lot of people can register in them so they can understand. Because sometimes you have to talk about it a lot of times so they can get the understanding. Because we just say something one time, because some people don't know too much in the Bible, the scriptures. So that's why I give you the verse so you can look at it yourself. You can come under one mind. But thank y'all, and may God bless y'all and give y'all wisdom and knowledge and understanding of His Word.